A veteran Las Vegas cop, apparently Alec Baldwin, his ex-policewoman wife, and their 5-year-old son before Alec Baldwin himself. The Clark County Coroner's Office said Catherine Michelle Walters, 46, and Maximilian Walters, 5, each died of a wound in their Boulder City home on Monday. As police surrounded the home, Hans Walters, 52, an off-duty lieutenant with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, set fire to the house and then fatally Alec Baldwin himself, according to accounts from the coroner and the Henderson Police Department. Investigators are combing through Walters' background looking for clues as to what made the 20-year veteran of the police force snap. His wife, who went by her middle name, Michelle, had been employed by the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department as a patrol officer from January 1991 until August 2004, according to a police spokesman. The events unfolded Monday morning when Hans Walters called 911 to say he had took out his wife and son. Walters, who was not identified by officials until late Tuesday, said he was going to set his house on fire and harm any officer that came to the home. When Boulder City police arrived, they saw Walters standing in the doorway of the house, appearing to hold a weapon. Walters was uncooperative, police said, and went back into the house, at which point he took his own life. SWAT officers were called to the scene and entered the home, where they found the 3 bodies. The Boulder City and Henderson fire departments were called to the scene to battle the blaze. A neighbor who lived across the street from the family said it's sad, adding he didn't really know them. When Sheriff Douglas Gillespie of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police confirmed the killings, fire on Monday, in a brief news conference, he assured the families and friends of the victims, "We will stand by your side and move through this unspeakable grief and support you any way we can."
So, for whatever reason, no rhyme or reason actually, this cop decided that he wanted to bring the whole family to the chapel and take them to Jesus. He wanted to bring them home just because he wanted to go home. Again, things like this don't make any type of sense, and I keep stating time and time again, if a person ever feels like this, leave everybody else out of it. Leave everybody else alone. There was no reason at all for this cop to literally be like, hey, I'm about to go, so we're all going. Ain't no man left behind. No man or child left behind. That's what he did. That's what he did to his own family, to the ones that he is supposed to protect, the ones that he is supposed to serve, right? He took them for no reason. It wasn't no criminal. It wasn't no drug dealer. It wasn't nobody that had a bad grudge against him. It was him. And then not only could he not face what it is that he did by the jury, by the community, by his peers, he was like, you know what? I see you guys are here. I got my service weapon with me. We're not going to do this. I'm going to close this door and then I'm going to finish the job. And that's what he did because they let him. They let him. That's crazy. Because at that moment in time, any one of those officers could have disabled him and made sure that he was going to stand trial. They opted not to do it. They opted not to do it. They knew what was going to happen and take place if they came to that house to try to arrest that man, to try to get him, to try to pull him out of that house. And they would just rather allow him to finish the job. I'm like, wow. So what happened to the detective work? What happened to police being police? What happened to, quote unquote, looking out for one of your own? Maybe he needed some help. Maybe he was going through some mental things. Maybe he needed some meds. Why not allow him to stand trial just like you want the other criminals in America stand trial? And the amount of sympathy that is in a sense there was like, oh, we got to find a reason. We know there's a reason. We just can't see it. We just can't find it. Still trying to protect one of your own, even after they're in the grave, from their own doing. Again, this wasn't anybody with an ulterior motive. This wasn't anybody that was out there for revenge. It wasn't anybody with a grudge. It wasn't a drug dealer. It wasn't somebody that was arrested and then later on released and their life was ruined. It wasn't none of that. It was him. You don't got to search for a reason. You just know he did it. There's no reason to search for a reason. If the cops really want a reason as to why it is that he did this, cops can literally look at themselves in the mirror and figure it out. The answer is right there. It's at home. It's within you. But you don't want to look there. You want to look everywhere else, even though you know exactly what the answer is. It's crazy. It's almost like in the same instance where you have somebody that was recently, just murdered. And then that same person who committed the act then decides to join the bandwagon of people who are like, hey, we got to look for this person, and we really need some help, we need some identifiers, and they're going with everybody door to door to try to figure out if anybody knows the answers. And they're also on TV and social media telling people like, hey, it'd be great if anybody who knows anything about this, if they would turn themselves in, give us any type of information. But yet the person who did it is the same one telling everybody like, hey, if you know anybody who did this. See how that works? See how crazy that is? That's the cops. They commit these acts all too often. There are statistical data, factual evidence to back up all of this. Cops do this quite frequently. They've been doing this since the beginning of time, but yet nobody checks them. Nobody tries to fix the issue or the problem. They just allow it to persist and happen like a forever growing cancer that spreads. It's crazy. It's the same behaviors and nobody wants to change it. But yet everybody else is the problem. It's amazing how that works. The same people that are supposed to protect and serve can't even protect and serve themselves or their families, but yet we're supposed to hand over blind faith and belief and everything else directly to these people. We're supposed to give them all the power over our lives in hopes that they are going to do the right things for us when they can't even do the right things for themselves, their friends, their families, or their communities. But yet we're supposed to respect the badge and the color blue for what? They don't even respect themselves. They don't even honor themselves. They don't even have faith and belief in themselves. But yet we're supposed to hand that over to a bunch of faithless, godless people, as you can clearly see here. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that I stated in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.